treason as Lassa fever kills one. Supreme Court Abiodun Adebutu lend faith today. NAS asks federal government to declare state of emergency on security. Opposition forced Rivers Assembly over resigned commissioners. Rescreening confirmation. And this says Tambua's appointees took away 745 government vehicles. Sokoto panel. Foundation trains over 300 Ondo youths in ICT. Labour names representatives for federal government's minimum wage panel. TV host Emefiele impersonated SGF to illegally obtain $6.2 million EFCC. These and other stories we'll be bringing to you this morning on the program Issues in the News. Please stay tuned. All right, we'll start from Ekiti State. The governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanje, has warned local government officials not to drop his name to perpetrate illegality. He said the advice was necessary. Sometime around December 2023, he said, and I quote, "I learned local government officials in each of the councils deducted 1 million naira out of the money approved for Christmas celebration and claimed they wanted to give it to me." End of quote. That is coming from the governor. He said, the governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanje, has warned local government officials not to drop his name to perpetrate illegality. Army uncovers Rivers illegal reservoirs with 3 million naira stolen crude. The headquarters of the 6th Division Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt, has uncovered 14 crude of reservoirs containing about 3 million liters of stolen crude in Odagwa, Eche in Eche local government area of Rivers State. Also, the Army said the reservoir had 49 boilers used in refining stolen crude in the area. The General Officer Commanding 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, while conducting newsmen around the reservoirs located in the thick forest of Odagwa, Eche, that was yesterday, said he wanted Nigerians to know what was happening. Abdul Salam disclosed that through crude oil intelligence officers of the division were able to discover about 14 reservoirs that contain upward of about 200,000 liters of crude oil in the forest. Addressing newsmen, he said, "You can see that this place is in a deep forest. Even if you are using helicopters and military drones, you will not be able to see what we actually saw here on the ground. Credible intelligence led us to this location." And that is coming from the Army General. Army uncovers Rivers illegal reservoirs with 3 million naira stolen crude. EFCC investigators taking bribes. Chairman laments. We'll look at the comprehensive story of this. It says the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, has raised the alarm about the craze for gratification and bribes among the commission's investigators, noting that he had a process in motion to fish them out. Olukoyede made this disclosure that was yesterday in his New Year address to staff members of the Anti-Graft Agency at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. According to the EFCC chairman, public opinion about EFCC investigators is poor, a situation he described as embarrassing for the Anti-Graft Agency. He warned that such conduct would no longer be tolerated under his watch, vowing that he would use the white stick against investigators taking bribes. Olukoyede said, and I quote, "At this point, I need to strongly reiterate the issue of discipline, integrity, and sense of responsibility in the way we do our work. Public opinions about the conduct of some of our investigators are adverse. The craze and quest for gratification, bribes, and other compromises by some of our investigators are becoming too embarrassing, and this must not continue. Let me sound a note of warning in this regard. I will not hesitate to write the big stick against any form of infraction by any staff of the Commission. The Department of Internal Affairs has been directed to be more ardent in its work and monitor every staff in all their engagements. The image of the Commission is too important to be placed on the line by any corrupt officer." End of quote. And that is coming from the chairman of EFCC. EFCC investigators taking bribes, chairman laments. Avoid confrontation with monarchs. Ex-local government boss wants Soludo. We'll look at that as well. A prominent Anambra elder statesman, Chief Romeo Okoli, has urged Governor Chukwuma Soludo to avoid unnecessary conflicts with traditional and religious leaders in the state. Okoli, a former local government chairman, expressed concern over the recent war of words between Soludo's administration, the church, and traditional rulers. Speaking with journalists in Awka on Thursday, Okoli said the brickbats distracted focus from discussing policies to improve citizens' well-being. The events in Anambra are no longer palatable. The conversation in the media is no longer on the well-being of our people. This must be checked before it degenerates to anarchy. That is the words of the elder statesman Okoli, who was a former local government chairman in Anambra State. Avoid confrontation with monarchs. Ex-local government boss wants Soludo. Supreme Court Abiodun Adebutu lent faith today. The Supreme Court will today give the final verdict on the Ogun State governorship election. The People's Democratic Party and its candidate in the March 18, 2023 governorship election, Ladi Adebutu, is challenging the victory of Governor Dapo Abiodun of the All Progressives Congress in the election. A 5-member panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, had last week Thursday reserved judgment in the case after the parties adopted their final briefs. The publicity secretary of the APC in Ogun State, Tunde Oladunjoye, said the party was confident of victory. He said, and I quote, "Election petition is persecuted in the court and not in the media." Election petition is prosecuted. Election petition is prosecuted in the court and not in the media. PDP and its Syria governorship hopeful lost the elections when the Ogun people refused to gamble with the future of our state. They lost at the tribunal when the judges unanimously confirmed the election of Prince Dayo Abiodun. They lost at the Court of Appeal and are bound to lose at the Apex Court because you can't put something on nothing, Oladuji said. End of quote. Of course, they will definitely know their fate today. I mean, both parties, PDP and APC. Supreme Court, Abiodun Adebutu, lent fate today. NANS asks federal government to declare state of emergency on security. You want to agree with the National Association of Nigerian Students. In the face of the rising kidnapping and bandits ravaging some parts of the country, the National Association of Nigerian Students has called for the declaration of a state of emergency on the security situation in the country. The clerk of the Students' Senate body, Oladimeji Othman, disclosed this disclosed this while addressing journalists. Othman said the National Association of Nigerian Students is gravely concerned about the escalating security crisis in Nigeria, particularly the surge in kidnapping and banditry that has disproportionately affected the northern region and other zones of the country. He said, and I quote, recent events including the abduction of a 400-level student at Ahmadu Bello University of Zaria and the tragic killing of Nabiha Al-Qadiyar underscore the urgent need for decisive action. In light of these alarming developments, NANS respectfully urges the federal government of Nigeria to declare a state of emergency in the affected areas with a specific focus on the north. This call for a state of emergency is driven by the audacity and frequency of criminal activities which pose a severe threat to the safety and security of Nigerian citizens. He noted that declaring a state of emergency would help the government to address the security situation critically. He also suggested that the federal government should work on collaboration between the stakeholders for intelligence gathering while acknowledging the government's ongoing efforts to address security challenges. NANS believes that the gravity of the situation demands additional measures. A state of emergency declaration would equip the government with enhanced tools to comprehensively address the security threat. End of quote. That is coming from NANS. NANS asks federal government to declare state of emergency on security. Opposition forced Rivers Assembly over resigned commissioners rescreening confirmation. Some opposition political parties in Rivers State have faulted the rescreening and confirmation of 9 commissioner designates by the State House of Assembly, describing it as illegal. The spokesperson of the Labour Party, Gogo Wellington, stated this in Port Harcourt, insisting that the House currently is not properly constituted. Wellington further said the issue of the 27 lawmakers who defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress is now a constitutional matter. He stated, "It is a constitutional matter, and you know some of these matters are before the courts of competent jurisdiction. They should allow the courts to take their decision." And that is coming from Rivers State, Port Harcourt. It is your lovely program, Ages in the News, reaching you on 91.5 Ekiti FM. We've informed you this morning concerning security matters. We've talked concerning education, but then we will still take more stories this morning on the program after this time out. Please stay tuned. IG presents 2 billion naira to families of deceased cops in Abuja. The Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, yesterday presented over 2 billion naira checks to families of police officers who died in active service in the last 5 years. Presenting the checks to 785 beneficiaries at the force headquarters in Abuja, Egbetokun noted that no amount of money could equate to the lives of the deceased cops. The money is a group life assurance an IGP family welfare scheme package. Egbetokun said, and I quote, "We appreciate the stewardship of President Bola Tinubu for his administration's commitment towards the well-being of police officers, and we urge the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the money. We understand that no amount of money can bring back the lives of the officers lost, but this will help to cushion the effects of the gaps left behind." End of quote. IG presents 2 billion naira to families of deceased corps in Abuja. We'll take some other story this morning. Ibadan explosion, death rise to 5 soldiers occupied site. That is coming as well. The Oyo State government yesterday said the number of fatalities from the Tuesday's explosion. The Oyo State government on Thursday said the number of fatalities from Tuesday's explosion in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, had risen to 5. This was as a group of STEM-looking soldiers on Thursday took over the site and barred people from the area. The special adviser on security matters to Governor Seyi Makinde, Fatai Owoseni, gave the update during a press briefing, adding that 2 additional bodies were recovered. The special adviser on security matters to Governor Seyi Makinde, Fatai Owoseni, gave the update during a press briefing in Ibadan. He said, and I quote, "Rescue operation is still ongoing. As of yesterday, we had 3 casualties, but this morning I got information from the security operative supporting the medical team that 2 more dead bodies were recovered." That is coming from our Ibadan, Oyo State. Ibadan explosion, death rise to 5 soldiers occupy site. Police to pay 50 million naira for arresting Abiola's widow in nightgown. The Federal Capital Territory High Court in Gudu, Abuja, has ordered the Inspector General of Police to pay 50 million naira damages to the widow of the late Chief MQ Abiola, Professor Zainab Abiola, for violating her fundamental rights by arresting and parading her while wearing only a nightgown. The court, in the judgment that was delivered by Justice Modupe Osho Adebiyi, also ordered the police to apologize to her in 2 national newspapers. Abiola had filed a fundamental human rights enforcement suit against the IG, the Nigerian Police Force, Inspector Teju Moses, and Engineer Ibrahim, son of former IGP Usman Alkali Baba, as co-defendants. She alleged that police officers in 2022 invaded her residence in Abuja and arrested her while she was wearing a nightgown and whisked her to the station. She told the court that she was detained and tortured for 3 days without trial. However, the respondents, while urging the court to dismiss the suit, claimed that they did not know her, insisting that the allegation she raised in the suit was false. In the certified true copy of the judgment cited by Newsman, Justice Osho Adebiyi held that the detention of Abiola by the defendants without arranging her in a court of competent jurisdiction was a gross violation of her right to personal liberty. Police to pay 50 million naira for arresting Abiola's widow in nightgown. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has earmarked 1.7 billion naira in the 2024 budget for the establishment of a pilot smart secondary school in the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike disclosed this in Abuja at an event organized to celebrate the accomplishment of public school students in Federal Capital Territory in academics and sports. Wike, who was presented by the Mandate Secretary, Education Secretariat FCTA, Dr. Danlami Ayo, said that the move was to align with global trends in digital teaching and learning. FCT to establish 1.7 billion naira smart secondary school. Ogoni youth flee community over government invasion. Scores of youths from Bodo community in Gokana local government area of Rivers State have fled their homes following alleged threats to their lives by armed gangs who invaded the area. Spokesperson for the fleeing Bodo youths, Joseph Dinibari, made this known while addressing journalists. Dinibari said the dozens of gunmen were freely brandishing sophisticated weapons in the community and threatening mayhem, saying they were the same people who invaded the area in August last year and killed some indigents. He said many of the youths were currently seeking refuge in Port Harcourt, the state capital, neighboring Eleme and Bonny in Rivers, as well as Bayelsa State, for fear of being killed. Dinibari alleged that the assailants were the same group of people who killed the former divisional police officer of Auhada Bako. The same people were the one that killed former divisional police officer of Auhada SP Bako Agbanezim in September last year. According to him, there are over 100 people from the Bodo community roaming the streets of Port Harcourt, Eleme, Bonny, Bayelsa, and Cameroon. They have been chasing away since the 4th, 2nd, and 3rd week of August 2023 by gunmen who invaded the community with AK-47 rifles, the same set that was behind the killing of the late Bako in Auda. They came to Bodo and began door-to-door search with intent of killing the people. They succeeded in killing 4 people from August 24 to September 4, 2023. Those shot dead have not been buried to date. He called on the Rivers State Governor, Semi Fubara, to save the community from the killer gangs and urged him to set up a special panel inquiry to investigate the circumstances surrounding the killing of 3 fishermen in August. You look at the top stories there. The top story there says Ogoni youth flee community over government invasion. Two killed in Ogun court clash. 2 yet to be identified persons have been allegedly butchered to death by suspected cultists in Ota town in the Adodo Ota local government area of Ogun State. According to an eyewitness, the incident happened about 20 minutes past 12 in the afternoon. Residents were running for safety. Some people said it was a clash between 2 rival court groups. 2 people has been confirmed dead as per the clash. 2 killed in Ogun court clash. Anambra traders lament as ACTDA demolishes illegal structures. Concerns are building in Anambra State over the destruction and burning of shanties wares and properties of traders along the Regina Sele Junction and White Junction of Okuno in Awka South Local Government Area of the state. The demolition, which started on Tuesday, was carried out by the management of the Awka Capital Territory Development Authority and led by its chairman, Ozi Onuko, in collaboration with the Development Control Unit of ACTDA and Rapid Response Unit of the agency. The demolition also affected traders at Unizik temporary site, Obi Okoli Avenue, Okuno Abakaliki Street, and Club Road areas of Awka. It was learned that the demolition began at the expiration of several warnings and quit notice served to the traders. Anambra's traders lament as ACTDA demolishes illegal structures. Three states to experience 2-day blackout, says TCN. Electricity consumers in Gombe and some parts of Yola and Bauchi states will experience power stage outage as a result of scheduled maintenance of power facilities by Transmission Company of Nigeria. The TCN announced that its maintenance crew will carry out scheduled preventive maintenance on the bay of its T1A, naming the transformer this time around. It says 3 states to experience 2-day blackout, says TCN. All right, we'll talk sports this morning. It was last night that the Super Eagles of Nigeria put in place every effort to ensure that they gather their 3 maximum points in their second group match of the ongoing African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. In the second group match, the Super Eagles had opportunity beating host nation Cote d'Ivoire 1-0. A penalty kick converted by Trozokon gave the Super Eagles the opportunity of picking the 3 maximum points. The Super Eagles of Nigeria are now currently second on the group table with 4 points. Yes, 4 points and 2 goals. Equatorial Guinea, that had opportunity beating Guinea-Bissau 4 goals to 2, are currently topping the Group A table. With 4 points in the kitty as well. All right, we have closed issues in the news this morning, but we will take our own program as well on 91.5 Ekiti FM Sports Update. Just to update your knowledge in the current happenings in the world of sports, I was able to close issues in the news with the latest story of our own Super Eagles, where we saw our darling team. Yes, we will call the team now our darling team, because this team was able to make us proud yesterday during their game against another strong side, host nation, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. Any moment from now, we should be able to receive a report as per what should be our expectation during their last group match against Guinea-Bissau. It was a nice moment seeing our own darling team going out there to give us victory needed in order to raise our hope of getting to the knockout stage of the championship. Some are saying Super Eagles, you must be able to work harder to get a reasonable position in the ongoing CAF African Cup of Nations. I'm glad this morning to be back to talk sports. My name is Oluwasola Kehinde as we bring you updates as per the latest in the world of sports. Yes, like I've said, it was a great period, a great moment. Seeing our own darling team, the Super Eagles, going out there to tame the Ivorians. They put in place every effort to ensure that, of course, they should be able to do what? To beat the Super Eagles. But don't forget that when you are playing against Super Eagles, you need to be very careful. While some are dreaming, hoping that anytime, any day, they should be able to beat the green, white, green. But yesterday, the Ivorians, they were careless. And of course, after 90 minutes of play, we were able to discover that the Super Eagles of Nigeria carried the day, beating the host nation, Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire 1-0 in a game decided there in Abidjan. Don't forget that it was a nice moment seeing William Troost-Ekong doing what? Giving us the goal needed. It was a penalty kick that was converted, and so it was sealed for our own Super Eagles, who were hoping of getting through to the knockout stage and of course to get to a reasonable stage in the ongoing African Cup of Nations. Yes, the manager himself was able to parade players, but to some it was as if players that were paraded may not be good enough, but they were able to put in place efforts to ensure that they beat their opponents towards moving ahead to pick the 3 maximum points expected last night. It was a nice moment. The goalkeeper was in his best form. Yes, and of course, he never let us down. Yes, you talk about the defenders, the likes of Aino. Aino was also in good form, but then you see Osimhen, the star man of the match. Yes, he was voted the man of the match of the game that was decided. He was playing as a striker, and at a time, he had to go out there to do what? To fight for the ball. At a time, some were asking, how come was he so able to get the strength he was able to use against Cote d'Ivoire? AFCON tactical switch and us victory that is coming from Finidi George. It was a nice moment seeing the Super Eagles beating Cote d'Ivoire. Super Eagles assistant coach Finidi George says discipline and tactical switch in formation and the team victory over Cote d'Ivoire in their game decided last night. After a pulsating match, Finidi told sports journalists, yes, in Cote d'Ivoire, he said, and I quote, we are very happy with the victory, but nothing has been done yet. It was a tactical game. We switched the formation and had to defend most of the time and use counter-attacks from the flanks. It is a team they are talking about the Ivorian side. It is a team that is very good on the ball. So we had to sit back a bit, close the spaces, and go on counter attacks. He said that's concerning his own opinion and his own statement. Assistant coach Finidi George, while speaking his mind as per the game that took place yesterday against the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, who are currently second In Group A, we face Guinea-Bissau on Monday at the State Felix of Anhel Bognis in Abidjan for their third and final round of Group A matches from at 5 in the evening. Like we have said, it was a nice moment seeing the Super Eagles are coming out stronger to beat Cote d'Ivoire in their game. Pesero said, thank God he wasn't disappointed because failing to beat Cote d'Ivoire, we definitely tell him it's likely to be the end of the road for his boys. But now that they've been able to beat Cote d'Ivoire, they should be able to play good football against Guinea-Bissau, and that is coming from the manager of the Super Eagles to ensure that they get victory at the end of it all. Then we will talk about other matches that were decided. We've earlier on informed you during issues in the news that we saw a report reaching us. It was a nice moment for Equatorial Guinea that beat Guinea-Bissau 4 goals to 2. Egypt twice came from behind to end a 2-2 draw with Ghana at the African Cup of Nations in their own game decided. Don't forget Captain Mohamed Salah, of course. It was after the losing captain Mohamed Salah to injury in the first half. He sustained injury and he could not continue. Mohamed Kudus scored both goals for Ghana, drilling in the opener from 20 meters soon after. Salah went off in the Group B clash at the Felix of Anhel Bognis Stadium. Omar Mamoshi pounds on an error to equalize for Egypt midway through the second half, but Kudus struck again right away to restore Ghana's lead. The Black Stars were left to through another mistake as Mustafa Mohamed leveled on the 74th minute, leaving Ghana with just 1 point from 2 matches. It was a bitter experience for Ghana's Black Stars. Egypt are only 1 point better off after back-to-back draws, but their immediate concern will be the health of Salah, whose stoppage time penalty at snatch a 2-2 draw with Mozambique. Ghana have now won just one of their last 11 AFCON matches. Ghana have now won just one of their last 11 AFCON matches. They were stunned 2-1 in their first game by Cape Verde, the smallest nation in the tournament, who can clinch a last 16th place and top spot in the group with victory over Mozambique. That's in a game that will be decided later today. Chris Hughton made 3 changes to his Ghana side as he recalled Kudus and Spain-born striker Inaki Williams, knowing another loss would leave them staring at the second successive first round exit. The past 4 AFCON meetings with the countries had yielded just 5 goals, a trend that looked set to continue in a quiet first half in which Iman Ashaw, 43rd minute shot, was the first on target. The Liverpool forward slumped to the grass as Ghana countered attack, closed the back of his left leg and resigned to the fact his night at the very least was over. With Egypt still reeling from the loss of Salah, it was Ghana's key man Kudus who sees the spotlight shifting the ball away from a couple of defenders and rapping a left-footed drive into the near corner. It ended 2-2 draw for Ghana's Black Stars. It wasn't a palatable one. Fans in Ghana were not happy with the outcome of their game against the Pharaohs of Egypt. But what are we going to say about this? It is football anyway. Twice they took the lead, and I'm talking about Ghana Black Stars, and twice they failed to utilize the opportunity. The Pharaohs of Egypt had to come back from behind to level up, and it ended 2-2 draw for Ghana's Black Stars. Their first game they bowed, and now they are just having just a point in the ongoing tournament. Then how will they qualify for the knockout stage? That is the question now being asked by sports journalists. Well, you won't blame them anyway, because it has not been so easy. When we talk about football, really, it has not been so easy. But for Ghana Black Stars, it has been long that they were able to get this title, and they are working tirelessly to ensure that they pick this trophy once again. But the fact remains that they didn't start well, because when you look at it, they didn't start well. just like the Super Eagles, who played a 1-1 draw against Equatorial Guinea. Of course, before yesterday, when William Troost-Ekong second half penalty gave Nigeria a 1-0 win over Cote d'Ivoire at the African Cup of Nations. Yes, that was last night, turning up the heat on the host country, whose hopes of reaching the last 16 remain in the balance. Captain Troost-Ekong of Greek club PAOK FC converted from the spot 10 minutes into the second half at the Ebimpe Olympic Stadium in Abidjan after a foul on Victor Osimhen was picked off by a VAR. The Super Eagles then held on in front of a frenzied crowd to claim their first win in Group A of the ongoing African Cup of Nations. And then we still look for some other time to give comprehensive report as per what the situation will be in the ongoing African Cup of Nations. Yes, I said something about Equatorial Guinea. Sohei hat-trick sends Equatorial Guinea top of Group A. Emilio Sohei scored the first African Cup of Nations hat-trick since 2008 as Equatorial Guinea beat Guinea-Bissau 4-2 last night to close in on a place in the last 16. They opened the scoring midway through the first half before a sparse crowd at the Ebimpe Olympic Stadium and added 2 more goals in the second half in a remarkable performance. The result leaves Equatorial Guinea, who helped Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in their opening game, with 4 points in Group A, which also contains host nation Cote d'Ivoire, with the 4 best third-place teams advancing to the best 16 to the last 16. The Unzalang Niconial National Thunders are ideally placed to progress as they look to emulate their run to the quarterfinals 2 years ago. It was a nice moment for Equatorial Guinea. It was a beautiful outing for them, beating Guinea-Bissau 4-2. Nigeria must as well go out there to do what? To beat their opponent on Monday, Guinea-Bissau, if possible, to come to the top of the Group A table. But the host nation, Cote d'Ivoire, must win their last game against Equatorial Guinea as well if they will remain in contention. Don't forget that those who are able to finish well will move to the round of 16 of the ongoing event. Let's come back to Ekiti State this morning. It was yesterday that we saw the grand finale. It was yesterday that we saw the grand finale of the 2024 Southwest Basic Education School Sports Competition. Ekiti State hosted the event. Don't forget, we received athletes from Lagos, Osun, Ogun, Ondo, as well as Oyo. They were all in Ekiti State this week for these sporting activities put together and hosted by Ekiti State Subeb. It was the grand finale. It was at the grand finale that we saw the final match that involved Ekiti State and Osun State. It was a nice moment seeing these talents, these young boys doing what they know how to do best. In the football match final that it was between Osun and Ekiti, it ended 2-0 in favor of Osun State. Yes, it shows Osun boys were get the message or got the message better during the final match. Initially, Ekiti boys couldn't come out to showcase their strength, but then with the support counseling from the managers, they played better even than Osun in the second half. Then the question remains, what happened during the final match? Yes, the governor himself was ably represented by Chairman Subeb, and I'm talking about Professor Femi Akinwumi. He was on ground to represent the state governor during the grand finale. The football match final ended 2-0 in favor, in favor of Osun State. That if you look at it really, for the 4x100 meters final, 4x 100 meters final girls. It was a beautiful display for Ekiti athletes who emerged first. It was a beautiful moment, like I've said. These girls were good, and of course, among the states from the southwest, they got the first position in the 4x100 meters race. Ekiti got the first position. Yes, second position, Osun got the second position, and Ondo settled for the third position. And if you talk about the 400 meters boys, Osun got the third position, Ogun second, and Ondo got the gold medal. That's for the final event for the 400 meters boys. Ondo came first in the 4x100 meters boys. Ogun came second, and Osun got the third position. Then for the girls, it was Ekiti that got the gold medal for the 4x100 meters. But then overall winner, that is where we had the question. Ondo State was able to beat other states to clinch the golden trophy as overall winner. Don't forget, I told you that Osun State got the gold medal in the football event, beating Ekiti State 2 goals to nothing. But then Ekiti settled for the silver medal in the football event. But third, Ogun State got the bronze medal in the football event. It was a privilege seeing those who understand what it takes to organize a program like this. I told you that the governor was represented by the chairman Subeb Ekiti State, Professor Femi Akiwume, and the governor has assured soccer fans, sports fans, I beg your pardon, he has assured sports fans of doing more towards taking sports to greater level in Ekiti State, and he has assured athletes of his own support in other competition. All he wants from them is commitment and hard work, and he has said Ekiti must do everything possible to build sports in the state. Don't forget that we will have it so good. The governor has pledged to give maximum support towards sports development, and that has been our prayer this time around. We want to see more support coming from the state government so that we have good stories to tell, that when it comes to sporting activities, you cannot rule Ekiti State out. It was a nice moment as some of the guests had to come out to decorate these athletes. Yes, some of the guests that we saw at the grand finale, Mrs. Olajumoke Bakre, who came from Lagos, she was on ground as well to give support to the Lagos State team. But don't forget that it was not so easy, and of course we have our own people on ground as well. Mrs. Anifo Oshekende visited Ekiti State from Ogun State to give support to his own darling team that came from Ogun State. But we had our own Mr. Aruwo Shola, a permanent secretary, who was equally on ground to support Ekiti athletes. Yes, nice moment. Shola Shitu was on ground. Yes, Mrs. Shola Shitu was on ground. We had Mr. Yinka Agbeleye, who represented the permanent secretary, Ministry of Education, and I'm talking about Dr. Kemi Olomojobi. Agbeleye was able to represent her. Yes, we had Mr. Folabi Adebiyi. He was equally on ground. He is the permanent secretary of Subeb. Yes, Dr. Aisha Abdul, a representative of Bujubek, was on ground as well. Professor Femi Akiwume, who represented the state governor, also made Ekiti people to understand that they will have do more to ensure that athletes in the primary school go out there to represent us in future competition. Like I've said, we'll still find time to give a comprehensive report. Other events that took place at the Oluyemika Ode Stadium where the event took place. Yes, Joseph Ikpede is the national president of Game Masters the primary school level. He was equally on ground. I want to say thank you, Mr. Ikpede, because it is during his own period that Ekiti State had opportunity hosting other states for the Southwest School Games. Yes, the 2024 Southwest Basic Education School Sports. The maiden edition, yes, was held in Ekiti State, and I think that would be kudos to Joseph Ikpede, and not that alone as well. We want to celebrate Professor Akiwume this morning, who did everything possible to do what? To give maximum support, and our governor, who has done so much to improve sports in Ekiti State. We say more power to Ehebo, and that's concerning the game that took place, the event, the grand finale of the 2024 Southwest Basic Education School Sports competition. By the time we may not be able to permit us, but let's see, maybe we'll be able to get one or two calls this morning. 08065 226145. 08065226145. Yes, my general manager is in the studio with me this morning. He so much love grassroots sports most of the time. Yes, before my arrival at the Oluyemi Kayode Stadium, I was told that your general manager was here and he was asking after you, Shola, where have you been? But I was able to make it anyway because it was Ode who was delivering the message and I was laughing. But the governor was there and he was able to say Ekiti must fly when it comes to sports. And here at BSCS we are ready to give maximum support to our darling governor Biodun Oyebanje. That was the size of the program. Sorry, I may not be able to pick your call because we have other programs to entertain. My name is Oluwasola Kehinde, your anchor for this morning. Until we come your way tomorrow morning at 9:30 will be the time. Do have a pleasant moment.